Hey guys, it's Aaron here once more again, and today for all of you, actually I'm actually going to be doing a double Gunpla review, as I was trying to figure out whether or not I was going to do one of these, two of these, but when I was doing multiple intros, I was just sliding in one model kit for the other, and I said, you know what, F I'm just going to do both of them. This is going to be the double review of my Gundam Virtue and Gundam Nadleeh from the Gundam 00 Season 1, and you can see why I was having trouble whether or not I was going to do these as separate reviews or do them together, because technically speaking, they're separate model kits, but they're kind of technically same, though non-transformation wise, unless you get the master grade one, which we did. What's it called? But this right here is the high grade Gundam Virtue and high grade Gundam Nadleeh from Gundam Nadleeh Season 1. Granted, my Virtue right here, as you see right here, is the Transcend version of that one, as I sadly don't have the regular version of Gundam Virtue. I'll try to find one later down the line. I was only able to get my hands on the Transcend version, which I get lucky now, which nowadays probably is going to be kind of difficult getting a Transcend version of any of the 00 kits without being overpriced. Unless you find them in one of the regular stores, Gundam stores for the regular price, but yeah. But this right here is how they look during the events in Gundam Season 1. But without further ado, folks, let's dive in with this double model kit review. And we are back at this basically everything the Gundam Virtue and the Gundam Nadleeh comes with. Granted, I will say there is going to be some addendums. The fact I am kind of missing a couple beam sabers, as both the Virtue and Nadleeh do come with a pair of double beam sabers, as they usually come with a lot of the older double ones. Actually came with beam sabers, which is a good thing back then. Nowadays, it kind of depends on some model kits, whether or not you get beam sabers or not. But right now, I am kind of missing a couple, as they should always come with a double pair of beam sabers. Granted, these are going to be the pink ones or the red ones. Pretty sure they were all pink, but I'm going to be honest, I kind of lost. I don't know where all the beam sabers for all my Gundam 00s, right? But I had two of the spare ones for any of my other 00 ones. Pretty sure the red ones do go with my Trans Am ones, because I do have a couple other Trans Am units as well. Besides the Virtue. Besides that, going with the Virtue first when it comes to like the weaponry. It does come with two beam sabers. Actually, the one thing I actually kind of do like that, they kind of did this here, which I did not do with the Nadleeh with the regular high grade, is that for the beam sabers actually are hidden away inside the legs right there. I don't know if you can see right there. It does have a compartment right there. We can see right there. I don't know if the light can show that. All right, there it has a little compartment right there. Let me see if I can show this right here, and I don't know if you can see that right there because I have no. Let me see if we try to get the light right here. Yeah, so there's like a little compartment right here that has a little peg thing right there where the beam saber attaches itself in. You actually can see this on the other leg right here for the Virtue right here, where it's attached into that, which is actually pretty good. Where it attaches into this, actually, it's pretty nice. So that way they can hold the beam sabers in there, which. I'm going to be honest, when it comes to like some of the other 00 kits, the way they kind of have their the beam weapons attached, the Exias and the Estrellas have them attached to their waist because they have the peg points right there. Dynamis has it attached to its back piece, which I do have Dynamis. I can see right here. This is how Dynamis has his attachment piece right there. The way it attaches his beam sabers. The Exia and the Estrellas have them attached to the backside, which right now it's right on the Estrella, but you see what I mean. But what's called, that's how it has his beam sabers attached onto it, which is actually pretty nice. Nadleeh doesn't have that, which I'm actually kind of a little bit disappointed in. You can attach them to the sides, but what's called, I was actually going to do some modifications, actually some drilling and whatnot, to be able to attach the beam sabers in there, but I never got a chance to do that. But I also kind of wanted to strip my only Nadleeh, so I kind of also put myself against that. But yeah, besides that, the Nadleeh also comes with this Hyper Bazooka right here. You can see right here is a multi-piece weapon that actually does pop out. Because you can attach, I forget how this is attached, because this thing opens up. I remember this opening up. I forget how to do this though. It's been so long since I attached onto it. I think it's the bottom side. Yeah, the bottom side has a clip on where it attaches, and I want to break this. Where the bottom side right here opens up and basically spreads out so you can attack. The weaponry can go flipping up and down, and can basically just do this overcharge. That little gimmick right here that actually attaches onto the, when you actually have it attached onto the hands, actually attaches onto the chest right here. So basically do like the overcharge cannon shot for the Hyper Bazooka shot that the Virtue does for a lot of charge times. So not pretty bad. Like I said before, this thing does open up, but it's like, it's a little bit stuck right now because what's called, it's been a while since I've done this, and I just gotta wiggle this, and I kind of want to break this. But there we go. We actually got it a little bit out. And the bottom side, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to pop out. Let me see if I can get the tweezers to pop that out. Yeah, there we go. That's a good thing about having tweezers is when you need them. So basically they pop out like that, so you can have the whole Hyper Bazooka charge that the Virtue does. Confuse both of them, even though they're technically part of the same machine, technically speaking. So you get the hypercharge shot, so you can get that, and they both basically poke back inside, tap them in, and they're basically back in regular mode, which is actually not bad. Then we got the two Hyper Bazooka cannons, which, yes, for those who want to know, do have the attachment points to connect. So when the Nadleeh purges, the Virtue purges, the Nadleeh can actually attach onto them. It does have the handles right here that you can pinpoint out for the back cannons, for the Bazooka cannons right here. The only thing you just do is just detach here, and with the tweezer's help, just gotta, I forget how this is done. I think it's just like pull them up, I think. Yeah, there you go. So basically just do the attachment piece right there and just like, and just attach it right there. So just basically like a lot of the 001s basically just like flip them up and just basically attach them so you can attach onto the hands. And these do, I'm pretty sure, did they come out? I'm pretty sure they did. At one point, I don't remember. Oh yeah, they do. So they do have the attachment point for like popping out. Same thing like with the original ones, where just slide them in so they can do longer range. I'll probably do some poses of this later down the video, so we'll see that in battle mode once we go through that. But it does have the Hyper Bazookas that basically, the other bazookas, attachment cannons, that go to the backside, and then the GN drive is the whole backside right here. The whole overview of the Virtue, which I actually do like designing the Virtue a lot. The whole bulkiness with the armor and whatnot, with the many vents, basically to protect it. It's a lot more different than the Seraph V, which I do have the Seraph V and Seraph, and I'll probably do the review. I'll look for that one later down the line. Overall, I do like the aesthetic of the Virtue a lot, especially with the heavy armorness, and also talking about the armors too. How do I do this? The thing's also same here too with the vent. For the GN vents also pop out too, which is actually a good thing. I need to figure out how this is done. So because these do pop out, so it's like not the way. There we go. Wait. So they pop out like that, and the vents do pop out like that. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to pop out a little bit more. There we go. And they do pop out like that, for those who want to know. Though a little bit more coloring would be a little bit much more better for it. But they do pop out like that, so when you got to go into like the GN field, so it does pop out like that. So it is at the pop out, which is pretty nice. Overall, we also got a lot of the stickers for, Trans Am units, since this is a Trans Am unit. It is on ball joints for the legs too, and like still like 00 peg point arms right here. Overall, still pretty nice model kit, but I'm going to say so myself. I should like design for this. Overall, this isn't the Trans Am color scheme, so you're going to see this not the regular white color scheme like you see with the Nadleeh right here. But this is how you would see in the Nadleeh or the Virtue, and their color schemes were swapped. And yes, there is a Trans Am version of Nadleeh for those who want to know. There's a Trans Am version of almost all the 00 kits. Because they made them, which is a good thing back then. I used to have a lot of them. Sadly, in my misguidedness for customization, I've kind of destroyed most of them, which is a sad thing. A lot of the XE ones have gone down for that. But yeah, so that's for Virtue for all of its weaponry and armaments. So it's pretty nice. Just reattach the beam saber back onto the leg right there, which I remember this was a little bit of hassle when I did this, but it's like just a peg piece attachment, which just slide it in right there. And you just gotta wiggle in there, and it should be in there. Yeah, it's in there. So that's the Virtue. Now let's go with the Nadleeh. And going with the Nadleeh as GN rifle, which I actually do like. Which right now I am missing an attachment right here, because like when I was talking about with the beam sabers, the Nadleeh comes with 3 beam sabers. That comes with the regular 2 beam sabers, but it's like for its beam hilts, as we do see right here. But it comes with a 3rd beam effect that extends. It's the red one that extends on the rifle right there, where it actually connects right here. I have no clue where it's at. I was trying to find it between my boxes of beam blades. Cannot for the life of me find it, but you'll know what it is if you do get it. But there is a 3rd beam attachment on it, so that's pretty nice. It does come with a sticker right here for the rifle right there. It's a green one. You could color whether or not color if you want to or not. I just put it on there back then because I built this like years ago back. Then we have the shield, which did have a sticker. I refused to use stickers, so I just painted it. But the double shields, it's got 2 plastic plates right there with the attachment guard point for the arm. Overall pretty nice, pretty solid, just like almost a lot of the 00 ones come with. And then we have the Nadleeh itself. Like digressing from the Virtue itself, the Nadleeh basically purging all the armor, basically having all the attachment, all the wires towards it. As you can see right here, the different contrast between it and the Virtue right there, as much more skeletal, as technically speaking, since it's mainly a defensive weapon. Well, the Nadleeh's a last minute defense. Basically, once the Virtue ever gets, which we do see a lot of times in Season 1 00, basically get attacked and needs like to purge, especially when fighting against other GN drive weaponry. It does have the trial system, which is meant to like disengage any GN drive powered machines, and basically the Nadleeh is basically the final machine. It does have weaponry with its shields and rifles, and it can attach the cannons, the backup cannons, to the arms, which we've already seen already. I do like the design of the Nadleeh. It's one of the first ever, I won't say first ever, but it's one of the machines that started like the whole feminine side with a lot of the Gundam 00s that we see, along with the Exia, my Stray right here, kind of doing it too, with its posing too as well, which we did see with the G porting when I did that review when it comes to, because it is Nadleeh, the Noble, and the Exia all combined together that gave it the inspiration designs for the G porting, which I did the review for that one. This is actually one of the inspirations. It's on the manual for the G porting, and actually has it right there for the machines that inspired the Gundam porting. Overall, I did love the design of the Nadleeh, especially with all the red wire cords basically coming out, kind of looking like red hair attached onto it, which is pretty nice. The one thing I kind of hate that they could have really done is the attachment for the beam sabers, as they actually could have had, because right here, they could have done like some hole silts like we have with the Virtue, where the beam sabers could have just slid in there, and they could have done that, but they didn't, which kind of annoys me, because the only way to attach these beam sabers onto it, this actually happens a lot with a lot of the older Gundams. A lot of times they come with beam sabers, but they don't have places to attach onto them. What I usually do is just tend to attach the beam sabers onto like the shoulders, because they can slot them in there. But the problem with that is just, then you can't really just push the arm any more further with that. So that was like one of my gripes for this. But overall, still pretty great. Not that many accessories, they're just going to buy themselves. But the price for these were cheap back then, and they're still probably cheap now. Just right now will probably be your shipping cost, depending if you get. Because if you get them on any regular Gundam site, because I know they go for the regular price between, like, I think it was like 13 for the Nadleeh and then 15, 16 for the Virtue, plus whatever shipping cost, which a lot of times these are $10. It's not that bad, especially if you get them in bulk. Overall, pretty great for the accessories. I do love the design for everybody else. Back to the Virtue. Love the bulkiness of it. I do like a lot of more bulky machines, especially with, like, we're going to go with the Virtue, the heavy arms, any of the Hazel units from Gundam, from UC Gundam, you know, a lot of the more heavy hitters, always pretty great. I do love the design. The detail work for actually is pretty good. You can see all the event stuff. Because the way the Trans Am actually, the coloring for the Trans Am actually goes, you actually see a lot of more detail work, and I do have a lot more panel line I got to do for this. I kind of left this as is, because I didn't want to do anything else with it, but yeah. Okay, now that's the accessories, folks. Let's go with the articulation for both the machines. And we are back in there. We're going to start with the articulation. We're going to start with the Virtue, since it is the primary machine, before we get to the Nadleeh. Starting off with the head, it is on a bowl drain like almost any Gundam. So it can do 360 spin. Just gotta spin it like that, just as though just come off the ball hinge, if I want to be honest. Oh no. And now it's lost the top cap of it, but that's fine. I'll there find it. I just gotta be careful when doing that. I can go bob and weave. I can turn left and right, no problem at all. I can do the spin, just what's called. Just be careful when it's probably going to fall off and you'll probably lose a piece. But I was able to get it back, no problem at all. What's called the arms on a peg joint, or the stick joint, I mean. So I can move up and down. So there's the movement attachment for a lot of these, some of these 00 kits, or any of these Gundam kits that come with like the stick joints. The arm's able to go all the way up, spin around. It's actually got a pretty good range of motion, despite the fact that it's on a stick joint. The arm's able to go out a lot of way that way, which is not bad at all, which is pretty good. And like a lot of 00 kids, which I kind of hate that a lot of kids don't do this, where the shoulder armor is it's separated from itself so it can spin on its own. Kind of wish a lot of more Gundam kids kind of did this, but they kind of don't. It's one of the reasons why I kind of like 00 series a little bit more than in the other series. And because it is 00 and so older kits, still on the single joint. So that's as far as that goes right there. And all Gundam kits come with the ball joint, so that's just spin around, no problem at all. Bob and weave, so no problem at all. Torso joint, like almost all the 00 kits, no torso joint at all, so it can't ab joint anything else. It can move a little bit up and down because it is on that peg joint right there, so it can move a little bit, wiggle, but it can't do any ab joints because it doesn't have any. It's on ball joint, so it can't really do that much of displays as far as it's going to go. Because it is a bulky machine, I can go all the way up like that. As far as it goes all the way into the backside, because as far as that goes. And then it can bend all the way there for the leg. But as far as we're getting that, because it is a bulky machine, it's meant to be bulky. As far as we're going to get for any joints for this thing. And the feet are on ball joints, so technically speaking, they can spin around. I can do a little bit of that, wiggle. But as far as we're going to get anything for the legs, just because, like I said before, since the Virtue is basically all armor, it can't really do that much movement. But it's actually got a decent amount of articulation that I was actually surprised about. Even with the fact that the legs are a little bit much more bulky, it still is actually able to do a decent amount of articulation, even if not all the way. So going from the Virtue to the Nadleeh, from the base machine to the final machine, or depending if we're going to go 4-5 or 5-4. With the Nadleeh, it can do the spin around, just be careful with the heads if you don't want to break it. I kind of don't want to do this because then I want to rip the... It can spin around, that's what's called. I don't want to do it because I don't want to rip out the cords, the rubber cords for the hair. I can bob and weave. I can move left and right. It should be able to spin, just what's called things being a little bit more stuck. And I think just because the way the head is designed, it's kind of not allowing it to do the full 360. But it should be able to. The cords are kind of blocking it. Like I said before, like with the Virtue, the Nadleeh also has the same basic joint attachment as is technically the same body joint right here, just with less armor. They would move left and right, up and down, spin around. Go all the way there. Does have the armor right there, the armor shoulders all separate as well, as they're basically both the same machine, just without different armor. Spin around. It's able to go a little bit more on the armor joint since it kind of doesn't have the bulky armor blocking it. And like I said before, ball joint on the hand, so it's able to spin around. No problem at all. And torso joint actually has a little bit more wiggle on the torso joint just because of the way it's designed right here, as it is slightly more different design than the what's called the Virtue, which actually is a little bit weird. So it's actually got a little bit of a ab joint right here, which actually is pretty weird. Able to go 360, not bad at all. I'm still trying to figure out why it's able to do the 360, but the reason why is because the way the peg joint here is kind of designed. So it's allowing it to actually do the ab joint when it shouldn't too, which is actually not gonna lie. For a model kit that doesn't have any ab joint, it's able to do that. That's actually pretty nice. But like I said before, it is on ball joint, so it really can't do a split, which is actually a sadness because I really wish they would have done ball joints in the Virtue because I actually can do this. I actually can modify this and make it into a peg joint. I might do that later down the line because I can't do that. Just drill holes here, swap out with the other polycaps that are around. I could actually probably do this and actually give it peg joints so I can do splits and much more articulation. But since it has nothing basic, since all the armor's gone, I can put the leg all the way up, all the way in the back, all the way in the back. That's some gymnast right there, right there. Kind of wish a lot of my model kits actually do this. It does technically have a technical double leg joint, kind of like with the Exias and Estrellas. A lot of the 001s technically have these weird leg joints, so they can actually move around like this. It's not a problem at all. Where it bends right there, and then bends a little more further, which is actually pretty nice. And then the free right here on ball joints, and since there's nothing blocking it, actually can do a lot of movement, which is what we want for these model kits. And overall, pretty great. So where the Virtue has a good amount of articulation, the Nadleeh has a really decent amount of articulation. minus the legs, which is the only thing blocking the Nadleeh for being like full articulation is the fact that the legs are on ball joints. If they were on stick joints, probably do a little bit much more, but overall still pretty good. And I actually do kind of like how it's able to wiggle. Although I am probably going to do on my project for this for Nadleeh, swapping out the ball joints for peg joints so I can give it much more wide articulation for that. So that's going to be a project I'm probably doing there down the line. And also I'm going to get myself a second Nadleeh in case anything happens. I have a second Nadleeh to fall back on. But yeah, now with that out of the way, let's go with size comparisons. Because might as well do it with two machines. So starting out with some size comparisons, let's go with the size for them, as they're about 5.5 inches right here. Kind of feel like, I don't know if it's just for the Virtue or the Nadleeh, I kind of feel like the Virtue might be slightly taller, but that might be the way the bulk is showing for it. But then going for other size comparisons, Gunpla, we're going to go with the mascot of the channel, my Gundam Nadleeh, with it being a little bit much more shorter. That is actually kind of sad, the fact that it's slightly shorter. Even though most of the 00 kids for at least 3rd Gen 1 should be at least same size, even the Exia. They go check my other Exias for that one. The fact that I only have one other Exia, because I need to build another one right now. We have the amazing Exia right here, which actually is slightly shorter. I really need to check the comparisons for these, because the fact that the Exia is the shortest, it's kind of making me sad. And talking about more of the same era model kits, though this one's a little bit newer, but still same era kind of. With the Ashtray red frame reverse red frame. I forget what it's called, but you know what I'm talking about. A little bit more short as the V-fin being just making it slightly taller, but overall still a little bit much more smaller. Now talking about more Gundam Seed kits, here's my Perfect Strike, regular, without its Pac-Man attachment right now at the moment. This is the Revive version of the Strike, for those who want to know. The only difference is that it has the old R17 Perfect Strikes equipment onto it right now at the moment. Not the new one. I'm still going to try to eventually buy that one for the Perfect Strike pack later down the line for something else. My Gym Sniper Custom, one of the Gundam Build Fighter kits that we see in the events of Gundam Build Fighters. You're going from one Gym Sniper to another Gym Sniper Custom, which I will do a review for this one right here. This is one of my P-Bandai kits right here, which you can't really get anymore. But I should do a little design for this one. I will get that Gym Spartan too, because I kind of want to have all of them collection. I have no clue if I did a review for this one or not. This right here is the Gundam Ground type, Space type, or Gundam Thunderbolt's Gundam Ground type, or goddamn, I forget what it's called, the SP or something. Well, this for this Gundam Thunderbolt. I have no clue if I did a review for this. I might have not. I might have to go back and see. I might have not though. Another Gundam Build Fighter kits was a Starbull Strike, with being around the same size, so actually getting machines that should be slightly taller. And then last but not least, and the one I'm actually currently working on a custom right now, the fully upgraded, though I'm still working on more paint jobs right now, my Gundam Nadleeh Scarlet hasn't fully upgraded since the last time you saw. It's the last time you saw him. I can see right there, it's got a new body, new color paints. I did do a post on the channel channel post and on Twitter for the new paint job. I'm still painting, I'm still doing a lot more stuff for this. But it's been upgraded, and it's actually a little bit much more taller because I did give it slightly different legs, or feet. But yeah, overall, both Gundam Nadleeh and Gundam Virtue are basic average size for your Gunpla, as you can see right here. But with that out of the way, folks, let's go with the final size for the model kits. And with that, folks, that is it for the review for both my Gundam Nadleeh and the Gundam Virtue Transcend version. Overall, pretty good model kits, I do say so myself. Articulations are pretty nice. The Nadleeh is actually pretty movable. The only thing I will say with the bad side, the fact that Nadleeh did come out all the way back, like, what, 2010. So it's still stuck in those old ball joints. Kind of wish they were on, like, a little bit more upgrade on the peg joints, because then the Nadleeh actually have a little bit much more movement. The Virtue, on the other hand, still has a good articulation. Not as much, because it's kind of limited by the bulky armor. But still actually able to do at least some decent good poses. Overall, the accessories, not as much. But for the price range, actually both came out when they both came out, which I think the Nadleeh was like, well, 13, 14 bucks. Was the accessories not bad at all. The Virtue as well, I think was like around 15, 16 bucks. Not bad as well for its accessories, overall pretty great. what's it called, and as a dual pack right here, as they are meant to be together, as they are basically same machine, with the Virtue basically being the Nadleeh inside, well, the Nadleeh being inside the Virtue. Once the Virtue purges all the armor, we get the Nadleeh, as we do see during the HG Gundam 00 Season 1. All pretty great monikers, I do say it myself. Their axe is pretty great. You don't really need a lot of stickers. The only stickers I usually need most time for these monikers are usually the eye stickers, or the ones for the V-fins. And then maybe some of the eye sensors, or the sensors for the weaponry, depending if you want to do that, or if you just want to paint that the metallic green. Overall, pretty great monikers, so I do say so myself, and I do recommend them if you do see them, if you're able to get the chance to get them or see them on shelves and whatnot. You see them, I do recommend them, especially if you see any of the Trans Am versions of Gundam kits, because those are rare kits, and trying to get any of them nowadays is actually pretty hard. Overall, pretty good model kits, and yeah. If you did like the video, folks, please consider dropping a like, share, and subscribe, as I always do appreciate it, folks. And as always, have a nice day. This is I, Pardon, signing out, and I'll see you guys on the next one.